Well, first of all, hi, and thank you so much to take the time for this interview. How have you been?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, and thanks for having me and giving the opportunity. Yes.
Yeah, of course. You're releasing your debut album with The Circle in a couple of weeks. How are you feeling about the upcoming release?
We are looking kind of forward to it since we got a great response already, and a lot of things are planned for the next weeks, and we can't wait for the reaction of all the people towards the whole album and future releases we have also planned. Yes, quite positive, I would say.
Let's start off talking a little bit about your history as a band. So I watched
Yes.
your documentary and I noticed that you referred to the band as Vagrant, which I presume is its previous name. So I was
Yeah.
wondering, when did you start Vagrant and how did it transition into becoming The Circle?
Well, Vagrant, I started basically back in school time already. That was 2016. That there I came to idea like having like an own band and all this, and we wrote the first album for it. I think for like two or 3 years, and released it 2019. Yes, and then we already had material for the second album, but there were also lineup changes going on because we separated from an old singer and bass player. And then I came across a new member that's today part of the band, who's a bass player and visual art designer. And then we worked out new concepts for the new album, like a new story, a new image, and then we came kind of to a clear vision that we should maybe go to a different direction because the music was going also in a different direction, and we decided to change also the name because it was more fitting for the project now since it was like a whole new thing, and then we decided maybe it's better to go into new name and new image. Yes, that's the short backstory.
Yeah, that was gonna be one of my questions because you have such a strong like visual imagery for your band. I was wondering why you ended up picking the name The Circle because it fits with everything. So I thought like that the visual concept came first, but I guess it did then.
Yes, the visual concept was first, and then we came up with the circle. The name has multiple meanings, I would say. First, it sounded cool to us. That's why we took it. But it's more like we don't see it as a name for the band. We see it kind of a name for the whole community around it. It's kind of like a group. It's like the circle of people that's like following our music as well. And that's why we decided that we want to keep this name like a whole name for the whole community, and that fits also like the image which has some, I would say, religious aspects to it as well, and it's like a whole community, like a religious community, for example, and that's why we took the circle for the whole band.
What can you tell about the band's sounds? Or if there are people watching who don't really know you, what can they expect
Mm.
from your music?
I would say it's like a lot of things because it's not I can't say like we're doing straight melodic death metal in like Finnish style or Swedish style. It's more like a mixture out of a lot of different genres. It has also this melodic death metal background from the past when we did Vagrant, but there are also a lot of new, more modern black metal elements to it. Like on the third track on the album, it's like really black metal driven, but there are a lot of still atmospheric, cinematic elements to it. We have like choirs going on, a lot of string sections, violin sections, and all this in this direction. It's like a mixture out of like symphonic, black, melodic death metal in this direction. But also every song has like some hidden things in it from also different genres. But that's the most compact.
So I noticed that people are kind of describing it as art metal, but I was wondering, do you see this whole project as kind of a big art project that also happens to be a band?
Yes, and this was the whole concept behind it. That's why we we thought like we can't fit it into one genre properly, and then we kind of had the idea of art metal, since it's for us it's not a full band, since we don't have a full lineup, and it's like more than just the music, and that's it. It's like the whole image around it, the videos we do, the whole graphic and photo aspect, since there's a lot of things other members doing, and it's like more complete picture then, and it's more describing the whole project than just the music. That's why art metal was kind of one fitting word for all this, we would say.
In that sense, how do you see the future of this band? Like, is this going to be mostly a studio project, or is this going to be a touring band if you know the world allows it?
Well, to the moment it's just a studio project, since we don't have the full lineup, and the singer Asim is like in Finland, we are in Germany, so touring would be pretty hard to do, and actually a lot of planning behind it. But if all the releases go well in the next year and next years, and there's demand for the shows, maybe we find a full live lineup and we'll do tours and shows as well, because we would like to do that. But it's always like depends on the reactions, and if we have the possibility to do that in the future.
So let's talk a little bit more about the album. What was the writing process like? Are you the main songwriter, or are you working both with the bass player?
Yes, basically the music is done by me. All the stuff, the songwriting, the arrangements, the production, and every instrument is basically played by me. So that's my part. Just the lyrics and vocals is not from my side. That's done by Asim, and the other members doing the whole visual process and design. So that's kind of split for everyone. So everyone has like kind of can give his input into the project, and it's working best the way, I would say.
So Asim is a session vocalist for this record. Now, how did you know that he was the right person for this music? Because on the albums, of course, he doesn't growl, so I'm not sure if you heard him do that before. And overall, how was the collaboration?
Well, I knew he had not much done with growling vocals before, actually on Damnation Plan, because now he's also doing the growling for Damnation Plan. And we saw one live video of him, because there was one show, I don't know where it was, but he was doing the growlings for Damnation Plan. And since I met him a couple of times before on other shows in Germany, I had him kind of in mind. And when we were looking for a new vocalist and that could fit the whole music and our whole idea, I just hit him up, message, and asked him if he would be interested. And this was how it all came together, basically. And the process working with him was pretty easy. So it was like I sent him the material, my ideas, the concept was already like thought out, written out, and then we have had some talks on Skype and some phone calls, just discussing on the expectations, how we want to proceed, how we want to work with him. Basically, he did all on his own, like lyrics. He wrote all the lyrics first, sent me the lyrics for the songs, and then we corrected it if there was anything that needs to be changed. But was from the beginning very clear, I would say. Since he had strong vision for it, he understood what we wanted to do, and his style of writing lyrics and singing was kind of fitting the project really well, which made it pretty easy for the songwriting process. Yes.
Now, the album is a concept album. So what is the idea behind the concept, and how did you basically come up with it?
Yes, it's a concept album. We came up with it kind of after the first two songs are written. We had some ideas before, but then was more clear. It's like Metamorphosis, and this is kind of the whole concept behind it. It's based on chapters, the songs, like on different parts of the Metamorphosis, and it describes how every human reacts to kind of setbacks in life, like can be anything, can be betrayal, can be loss of someone, anything that happens and that kind of drags you down, and how every human reacts to it, and with what feelings he reacts to it, and how we kind of proceed to get over all this um, low emotional state, I would say. And that's what this metamorphosis is describing. It's kind of a change of the person into a new one, and to a stronger one, and of course with new experience and all this. That's kind of how we would describe metamorphosis and what's standing behind this.
Metamorphosis is also like a kind of a popular concept, I guess, in literature. Is that where you also got some inspiration, or did you mostly read like about psychology or things like that?
Well, literature is actually a big thing for us, since a lot of German literature is kind of taking the concept of metamorphosis, like Kafka, for example. So it had kind of an impact on it for sure, because I personally read also some literature from back in the days. So it had also some impact on it, I would say, yes.
Yeah. Now, I was wondering, because you mentioned that first you had 2 songs or something ready, then you came up with the concept, but did you instantly know what kind of the structure of the record would be, that it would go from first this very dark and heavy sound to this kind of more hopeful sound?
Well, that kind of, in the beginning it was more trying to find like a new sound for the new album. And the first 2 songs that were written were not the first 2 songs on the album. It was the second one, and the third one, and then the second one. And after we had the concept, then we kind of looked into the ideas for every chapter we had and for every emotion, and then we took a look at the songs and decided that the second song should be the second one, the third one, the third one, and the other 2 has been written after the whole concept was done. So basically, the first chapter and the last one were written after the concept was ready, and on them we kind of more like worked out that it fits the emotions. But the other 2, they were kind of like, it fits natural. We have wrote them, and then like, okay, the second one is perfect for despair, for the feeling of despair, and the third one is perfect for the feeling of wrath. So like it was kind of half somewhere, like before and some after it, with more thoughts to it.
Now you also, I read that the plan was to release a video for every song that kind of fits into a story. I was wondering, like, because obviously the situation is now not very optimal for these kinds of things. Like, did you experience some limitations in filming or making the videos because of the whole pandemic situation?
Yes, we had lots of it, because we needed for some videos actually more actors than we actually have done, since we're limited to shoot with one other person. So basically 3 people, 1 is shooting and 2 in front of the camera. So the first video we have done with just 2 people in front of the camera, and the second one also, and the third one I was doing everything myself in front of the camera. So it was like, we had different ideas, and to do a bit more with a bit more people and a bit more production around it and all that. But then it was like, we can either do the videos or we skip on it, and that's where we said like, okay, we do it, kind of work around it, since we wanted to get the album out, and the situation will keep on for some months, or at least the end of the year. So we said we do a compromise with it, and still happy with the results, I would say.
Was it important for you to have the album out now and not wait until the whole pandemic thing is over?
Well, yes, I would say, because we wanted to use the time efficiently, and we worked on the album since the end of 2018. So it's kind of, if you have the album laying around for too long, it's like losing its spirit, and like it's not up to date anymore, because sound and changes for sure, and preferences of the band changes, and of the people as well, since the longer we leave an album to the side, maybe another band is doing something that sounds pretty similar to us, and then we bring it out later and we're like the copy of it. But that's why we want to have it like out now and not later on.
Were there any other challenges you faced because of the pandemic? I presume that you guys already did the recording and such before the pandemic, right?
Yes, basically I did recordings myself in my home studio, so that wasn't a problem since I was doing it all on my own. But I think besides the video shooting, there wasn't many problems. Well, one is, I don't know if many people are aware of it, but finding like labels to work with, for example, because a lot of small labels don't sign bands during pandemic, since it's like a big financial thing if you sign a new band and you need to invest into it, and you don't know how certain it is that they will have success, since they can't tour, can't promote the album and music. So that's like finding partners to work with during pandemic is like a bit harder, which is understandable.
Yeah, so you're releasing this album independently. What are some of the challenges you faced because of the fact that you are releasing it independently?
I think the biggest thing is that you need to put in a lot of time and thoughts, since there is no label that's taking care of production, or you need to sell like your merchandise and all the album on your own shop, and you take care of this, setting up the shops. It's like all this boring paperwork needs to be done by yourself, and you need to think of everything. Like that's like the biggest challenge, I think, for every band, because most musicians like they want to write songs, play music, and all this, but all the work that needs to be done besides that, that's like the biggest challenge, I think. Yeah. Because it's the first album independent for us, so it's always some things go wrong, but you learn out of it.
What is the future for you guys now? Are you working on a different album, and are you planning to always do these kinds of concepts albums that kind of fit also with your imagery?
Yes, we will I think exclusively do concept albums, since that's like the whole idea. We have also an album in works and some other stuff, so there's a lot of things for the future done. I think next year we will have some releases as well. Yes, that's for sure. Plans are there for it. Right. Not that clear, but plans are there.
Yeah. Yeah, super cool. Yeah, I think that's it for my questions. Do you have any last thoughts you want to share with people who are watching this?
Yes, for sure. I want to thank all the people that already listened to our music, that bought a CD, that commented, shared, liked, and want to thank to have the opportunity here for an interview and talk with you. Yes, and look forward to the release and hope you guys enjoyed